Maybe. All right, everybody. Welcome, one and all, to Fowl Territory 319. That's 319. I am your host, Gizzard Gary, and it is Monday, July the 14th, 2025. So, welcome, all of you, to the show. All right. So, let's take a look and see who we got out there. First of all, I see roll call. Driving and gonna listen, have a great show. First one in, we got Mr. Bob Dabalina. Hope you have a great show. If you don't, folks will probably ask for a refund of the interest fee for this chat. It's a significant portion of my entertainment, but I'll try to give you your money's worth, Mr. Bob. All right, TJ Fishing is out there. And we have living in Southwest Virginia, Kentucky, Rimfire and Hobbies. Ron 2A Matters is out there. And scrolling down a list. Hopefully I don't miss anybody. We've got the ineffable Kiss My Ass YouTube out there. A name that definitely gets your attention. We got Dale Pogue out there. And we have J Delta 22NC is out there. Who else? Got a lot of people out there doing a lot of chatting. We got tacos and French fries. Haven't seen that name in a while. Hillbilly Up is also out there. Plain Nut 767 in the audience. Rich White out there and in here. And so far, 16 people out there in the show. And so let's go ahead and introduce our panelists this evening. And the first one in here comes all the way from the plateaus of West Virginia. He is, of course, the host of This Week Unloaded on the Unloaded Media channel. Let's welcome Rich White.
Yo.
Guess you can do that. There's nobody to call you on the copyright anymore.
He's not here. So.
He is not here. All right. Well, thanks for being here. Secondly, coming to us from the Keystone State. It's Q New Avatar. He cooks, he shoots, and he shoots pictures too. And has about 15 different YouTube channels. Let's welcome Guns and Barbecue.
I've only got like 4 different ones, but good evening. How you doing? I'd like to welcome everybody to this dumpster fire.
Dumpster fire it is. All right. Well, thank you for being here. And just sliding in here at the last minute, my neighbor to the east and a little bit to the south. He is the host of the Saturday Night Guns, Beer, and Therapy podcast. And he's here to make someone's day better. Hopefully he makes this show better. Let's welcome aboard Hillbilly Up.
Hey, buddy. How you all doing?
Doing all right. Thanks for being here. We got Denny's Plant-Based Journey out there in the audience. All right, 17 people watching right now, all on YouTube. We are also multicasting on Facebook and on X. So if you're out there on the alternate platforms, be sure and drop a comment out there in the chat. Let us know you're here. I did start the ticker for this evening. And it is talking about tonight's giveaway. And the hashtag to enter that giveaway is # FT319. And that is a chance to win some stickers, some patches, some other swag, and a Aegis sample trifecta from the good folks at our sponsor, Aegis Gun Care, the leader in performance and protection. They're good people, and they're in Idaho, so you know you can trust them.
I know I did make prophylactics. That's awesome.
We got Steven Sheets out there in the audience. He says,
Holy
play
cow.
ball. Yeah, Steven Sheets, boys and girls. Yeah. We also have JJ Rainey out there. Evening, Patriots. Evening, JJ. All right. So, before we get started, what's on your mind, guys? Anything? Anything good, bad, indifferent going on in your lives?
Greta Thunberg, I have come to the conclusion, is a real life Cabbage Patch Kid.
How dare you?
That was a pretty good impression, Gary.
Thank you. Thank you.
Somebody,
Jacob S. is out there.
somebody posted a meme of her and Elmo on the boat going to Palestine, and Elmo's looking at her and he's giving her the googly eye, you know, I'm in love look, and his pupils are swastikas. For those of you who don't know, the official Elmo from Sesame Street X account was hacked the other day, and somebody was posting a bunch of anti-Semitic stuff on Elmo's account. It was
hilarious.
Yes, it was hilarious.
So we got Misty. Mrs. Wayne is out there. So hello. Want to remind everybody that if you're a channel member, we will not have a members only stream this week because I'm leaving to go on vacation tomorrow. I'll be gone for 6 days. Now, the good news is it should not cause me to miss any Fowl Territory, so we should be back next week on the regular schedule, but we will miss the members only chat this week. Maybe I have to give away 2 knives next week. I don't know. Rocall says, is Guns and Barbecue going to make someone rage quit again? I don't know. I'm not going to quit.
I can try like hell. We'll see what happens.
Try to make me quit. Well, if I quit, everybody quits. So
I mean, we can stay in the after chat and make fun of you. Be like, he quit his own show. What?
That's the thing. If I just quit, the show keeps going. I don't know,
Gary.
I don't know if it'll automatically shut itself off or not.
I don't know, Gary. Do you want to do 2 knives next week, or do you want to spoil your audience and let them see what they're missing out on by not being a member and give away a knife tonight?
I don't have anything ready.
Oh, like you can't pull one out of a hat. You probably keep them in a hat. Like these companies are just sending them to you left and right. You probably just have like a top hat, like Abe Lincoln, just full of knives. You don't even know what you're picking anymore. You're just like reaching in. You're like, that will work.
Now, Denny says, Gizzard Gary, or hear me out. You just go ahead and give me a knife now, and then you only have to give away 1 when you come back. See, he's trying to help me out. Denny's a good guy.
He is a good guy.
He's just thinking of me. Yeah.
Helping feller out.
Yeah, just trying to make life easier. You know?
There's nothing wrong with making life easier. But yeah, we got 20 people out there in the audience so far.
Conveniently, I made Gizzard Gary rage quit right before the giveaway.
Nobody wins. So we do have a brand new sticker tonight, courtesy of DM Fawcett. We're going to debut, so somebody's going to win that.
Say it as a step.
Oh yeah. So there's that. But let's talk about some news, shall we? You want to talk about some news?
Yep.
I guess so.
Let's talk about. I can't decide which one to start off with. Let's talk about one of our favorite guys, shall we? So I think everybody loves Gavin
Raymond?
Newsom, right?
Oh, him.
So
Oh.
this story in Bearing Arms today by Cam Edwards, it says Newsom laughably claims he's not anti-gun.
Mhm.
This should be fun. Okay. Gavin Newsom's attempt to reinvent himself as a moderate Democrat ahead of the 2028 presidential elections has been amusing to watch, but his latest effort to spin away his positions is downright laughable. As my colleague Sarah Arnold reports at Town Hall, Newsom recently sat down with podcaster Sean Ryan and was gifted a Sig Sauer P365X macro, which gave the California governor an opening to declare that he's not anti-gun at all. Instead, he stated his opposition to large capacity magazine clips and weapons of war, the phrase leftists use for America's most popular rifle, the AR-15. The governor also said he is sometimes anti-outgunning the police. So a couple of things before we even get into Newsom's record as governor is his rampant hostility towards the right to keep and bear arms. Does Newsom have a valid firearm safety certificate, which is required before any Californian can purchase or accept a gun as a gift? He's never said anything about having one in the past. Newsom also joked about Ryan trying to get him in trouble with the TSA, but the process of acquiring a firearm in his state isn't a laughing matter. Newsom couldn't actually take possession of the pistol even if he has a valid FSC. Instead, Ryan has to ship it to a federally licensed firearms dealer in California, and the governor has to go through a background check and wait 10 days before he's legally allowed to walk out the door with it. Of course, Newsom didn't mention any of that. Instead, he claimed that besides his distaste for those large capacity magazine clips and weapons of war, he doesn't have any ideological opposition to people keeping and bearing arms at all. There's a wealth of evidence to the contrary, including this quote from 2023 when Newsom signed a Bruin response bill into law that, among other things, enacted more than 24 new sensitive places where lawful concealed carry is banned. And quoting here, only in America do we see this kind of carnage and chaos of gun violence that destroys our communities and our sense of safety and belonging, said Governor Gavin Newsom. America is number one in gun ownership, and we far surpass every developed nation on earth in gun deaths. It's not complicated. In California, we've passed common sense gun safety laws, and they work. We have a 37% lower gun death rate than the national average. We're doubling down on gun safety and strengthening our public carry law to protect it from radical Republican attacks. Gavin Newsom believes gun ownership is directly related to carnage and chaos, which sounds to me like he's got a problem with you and I or anyone else owning guns, period. During his time as governor, Newsom has signed dozens of gun control bills into law. In fact, he signed or allowed every gun control bill that's reached him to become law. If Newsom only has a problem with large capacity magazines and so-called assault weapons, then why has he said more guns, more lives lost? In that same press conference, Newsom complained that the Bruin decision would lead to more handgun possession, which in turn, he argued, would lead to more suicides, more officer-involved shootings, and more violent crime. Newsom has never once complained about jurisdictions in California charging $1,000 or more for a 2-year carry permit, even though that price tag inevitably means that some responsible gun owners can't afford to exercise their right to bear arms. He signed legislation into law that bans gun shows on all state-owned property and wrote in an April 2018 letter that permitting the sale of firearms and ammunition on state-owned property only perpetuates America's gun culture. This is a small portion of Newsom's anti-gun history, which is extensive enough to warrant an entire book, not just a blog post. Gavin Newsom has spent his entire political career attacking gun ownership and the right to keep and bear arms. I'm curious to see if Ryan actually called out the governor for his outrageous claims during the podcast, or if he let Newsom's assertions go unchallenged. It would be a shame if the podcast host allowed Newsom to get away with his lies, but if that's the case, it's even more important that Second Amendment advocates remind voters what Gavin Newsom really thinks about our Second Amendment rights. All right. What do you guys think about that? Yeah, do you trust Gavin Newsom?
Hell no.
Real quick, I want to say hello to Gerald Muir, Fluffy 10 millimeter Jeep guy. Why is that so hard to say? And Bama Dad is also out there in the audience. Let's see. So, the article. Does that surprise anybody?
No, we talked about it last night on my show. So no, before that article even came out. So no, it doesn't surprise me at all.
I want to go back and listen. I just want to go back and listen to the Sean Ryan show and see if he challenged Newsom on any of this stuff. I'll be very disappointed if he didn't. But, you know, I mean, already knowing what we knew about Newsom, you know, the fact that he's lying through his teeth isn't surprising. He's a politician. He's going to do everything that he can to gain favor with the moderate voters. Then it's going to be a matter of, will whoever's running against him call him on his crap when they're on stage together or not?
Well, luckily, it's really easy to tell when Gavin Newsom is lying.
He's talking.
His lips are moving.
The words are coming out, therefore he's lying.
Let's say hello to Ozzy Osbourne is out there barking at the moon this evening. All right. Good to have Ozzy here. Good to have all of you here. We got 25 people watching this mess. We have Weston out there.
Well, Bama Dad saying he did, especially on the two-way parts. I'm assuming he's talking about the podcast host challenging him on it. Otherwise, he's saying he trusts like Gavin Newsom.
TJ Fishing is making vodka from wheat at the moment. That boy.
And I'm sorry, I'm probably going to say something that's unpopular with some or even a lot of people out there, but I am tired of this narrative of police lives matter more than our rights. And I'm not saying police lives don't matter. They matter 100%. However, this idea that they matter more than people's rights is foolish. And I believe any police officer worth his salt will tell you the same thing, because they take an oath to uphold the Constitution. With that, this idea that, I don't like, police officers being outgunned and blah, blah, blah. Well, if they have an issue with their safety or something like that, they have an option. It's called stop being a police officer. If the job is too dangerous for them, go do something else. Nobody's forcing them to do the job.
Denny's plant-based journey says, when police forces became paramilitary, I knew we would have problems. All right. Well, let's see.
That's one of the things you hear most when you hear testimony is, well, what about officer safety? When you hear things, especially when it's about expanding rights. For example, when you're hearing things about constitutional carry, go back and look at testimony about constitutional carry in Texas and look at the arguments there, and look at the things that were presented by the Dallas police chief, etc. It's always, officer safety, fuck your rights.
Yeah, there was actually an idiot sheriff in this state that was his complaint about when we got constitutional carry, and he promptly lost re-election when he came up for re-election. So yeah, justice.
Sorry, Gary, I said a bad word.
You did.
I did.
You can put money in a swear jar.
And like I said, it's not like I'm anti-police. I fully support the police, but I am also very, hey, my rights, your rights, everybody else's rights, and they don't get to be trampled on by anybody.
Okay, speaking of trampling on rights, we got another story here we're going to talk about here. Let's talk about drugs for a minute. Okay. And this story says the Third Circuit suggests a gun ban for drug users is not always constitutional. Okay. This is also by Cam Edwards, and it says, does the federal law prohibiting unlawful users of drugs from possessing firearms fit within the national tradition of gun ownership? It's a question that split federal appeals courts, and today the Third Circuit issued what's best described as a split decision on the issue. Eric Harris was convicted for purchasing and possessing guns, even though he admitted to habitually using marijuana. Harris challenged his conviction on Second Amendment grounds, arguing that Section 922G3 violates the right to keep and bear arms and is unconstitutionally vague. Today, a three-judge panel on the Third Circuit held that history and tradition justify 922G3's restrictions on those who pose a special danger of misusing firearms because they frequently use drugs. But the panel also held that it lacks enough information to tell whether the law's restriction are constitutional as applied to Harris. The panel did conclude that 922G3 is not vague enough to be unconstitutional, given that it warns all unlawful users of drugs that they can't possess a gun. But it still affirmed Harris's conviction in part, vacated it in part, and remanded the case back to the district court to find facts needed to apply the Second Amendment law laid out in this case. According to the panel, drug users who are adult citizens are among the people who fall within the scope of the Second Amendment's protections. But the judges also determined that the government identified historical cousins to 922G3, regulations on the dangerously drunk and dangerously mentally ill, which the court concluded supports 922G3's constitutionality, at least as applied to those whose drug use would likely cause them to pose a physical danger to others if armed. As the Firearms Policy Coalition quoted above, and I'm not going to read that whole article, the appellate court laid out several questions to determine whether a particular drug user poses enough of a danger to legally prohibit them from owning or carrying a gun, including the length and recency of the defendant's use during and shortly before his gun possession, the drug's half-life, whether use of the drug affects a person's decision-making or judgment, and the long-term physical and mental effects of the use of that drug. Under those terms, it seems difficult, if not impossible, to rule in favor of Harris or any other marijuana user. In fact, taken to its logical conclusion, the Third Circuit's decision would appear to allow a gun prohibition on anyone who uses any kind of intoxicating substance, a conclusion reached by Judge Thomas Ambrose, who partially dissented from today's decision. The majority opinion doesn't fully dispute Ambrose's conclusion, though it asserts the national tradition of gun ownership supports prohibiting gun possession for drunkenness as opposed to consuming any amount of alcohol. So is it possible for a judge to determine that someone's marijuana use doesn't make them too dangerous to own a gun? There's another case that was just appealed to the Third Circuit that will prove very interesting, and we'll delve into it into another post later today. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court has several cases dealing with 922G3 that the justice might accept when they return from their summer recess, so this issue may not rest with the various appellate courts for long. All right, so comments on this. I know we probably have some opinions on this one. I want to say hello to Agorizer real quick.
I'd just like to say one, Third Circuit's actually pretty badass. A lot of people don't realize it. But, you know, problem here is people hear, oh, drugs. So they, with the war on drugs that we've been trained to just go, oh, drugs, we got to hate them. And anybody that does them or anything else, you know, terrible person, et cetera, et cetera. But if you allow yourself to be educated, et cetera, like there's a lot of benefits to marijuana. I've never used, never had an urge to. I know plenty of people that do. In fact, you know, when I used to be around family members at parties or whatever, and they pull this stuff out, I just leave. I literally never had an urge to even be around it. But with that being said, I have allowed myself to become educated. I realize the medical benefits, et cetera, that do exist, especially over pharmaceuticals. And, the idea that we still have this federal prohibition on something that can offer a great deal of help to people. Because why? Because Big Pharma is filling pockets of politicians to keep it that way, because they're going to lose a shit ton of money when they can't push their pills, which are poisoning people. Like that seems like a pretty big problem. But I mean, this kind of goes into something we were talking to or about, I believe it was Monday of last week, and, intoxication, firearms, drinking, all that. And that was one of the things I was thinking about before this article mentioned it. Because if you're going to say, like, one of the parallels they said that they drew was, extreme mental illness. So they're drawing comparison that drug use would be equivalent to extreme mental illness with how it impairs you, which I was thinking, like, well, how is that any different than if you were to consume alcohol? But if you're going to say that doing any amount of drugs would do that, then how can they not say that about alcohol? And if you're going to go to those lengths, then what stops them from doing it with alcohol?
Now, Roll Call says alcohol is far more dangerous than weed. But what about all the other stuff that people take? Legal, over-the-counter drugs. Let's say you take Benadryl. Makes you sleepy. Can you have a gun if you take Benadryl? What if you're taking, something else? You drink a lot of coffee and it makes you hyper. There's all kinds of stuff.
Well, that's the thing with some of the pharmaceuticals. It's one thing if you're taking them properly, but Adderall, for example, it's classified technically as an amphetamine. And shit, I know plenty of people that have abused that. And I would argue does some very serious psychological damage to them. It's not just like short term, but in a long term capacity, they just don't ever seem right again. Now, am I certified to make any observations like that? No, but it's just my uneducated observation where I've seen people that abuse something like that and their before and after, and that seems to be the case. But again, pharmaceutical, and where's that on the 4473? Do you abuse pharmaceuticals?
Now, here's a counter argument. Bama Dad says that is not the issue. It is against the law. We deport people for violating our immigration policies, whether they are good workers or not. It's about being a citizen that follows the law, not your own.
But what about the states that say it's fine? And say, because then you've got the battle of your state saying, we're going to allow this because states' rights. And then you've got the battle of the federal government saying, well, we're the federal government.
The fact is that the federal law against marijuana is pretty much largely ignored, except when they want to conveniently use it for stuff like this. Then
and
they pull it
the
out
federal,
and dust it off and say, oh, okay, now we're going to care.
The federal law on marijuana really shouldn't matter, because so they'll sit there and say states' rights about the Second Amendment. Second Amendment shouldn't be able to be touched by states because it's in the Constitution. It comes before the 10th Amendment, where it's like, okay, if nothing else is mentioned here, then the states can choose what to do about it and all that, if, blah, blah, blah. But somehow, the states still go, oh, no, states' rights. We should be able to choose who carries in our state and blah, blah, blah. But then marijuana, the federal government goes, nope, we say it's illegal. So on this federal form, you don't get Second Amendment rights if you touch that stuff. Meanwhile, your state's going, oh, you have a chronic illness, or you have anxiety or depression or something. And I'm sorry, but I don't buy for a second that anxiety or depression would put you in a state necessarily. I mean, for some people it might, but overall, most people, they might just need a little bit of help coping with, some shit going on in their life, where puffing on a joint or something, or some gummies, who knows what, I don't fucking know, helps them get through their friggin' day. I'm definitely not putting them to a point where they need to be adjudicated mentally defective.
Now, Agorizer says immigration is in the federal government's purview. Drugs are not. Roll Call says the federal government will never give it up because money is the driver for the reason they allowed drugs and use of them. The government will never turn money down. Bamadad says even in the states that allow the use of marijuana, they can still throw you in jail if you buy it illegally.
But then you're buying it illegally. I mean, that's no different than going and buying cigarettes illegally.
Yeah, buying cigarettes out of the back of somebody's car is not legal, especially if they don't have a tax stamp on them.
Like,
anybody else? Hillbilly, you got any opinions on this? Or
Not really.
not really? Okay.
personally, I think if you're not depriving anybody of life, liberty, or freedom, the government should stay out of it.
Real quick, I want to say hello to Sam of Anarchy 92. Also, Artek and Daughters is out there, and I'm thinking somebody, Agorizer jumped in, and we just now are hearing from Abigail Finnegan, who put out a anniversary member for 34 months. Thank you.
Oh, and I'm sorry, Gary. Rich,
Yo.
correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't it George Washington who grew his own marijuana crop?
No, marijuana wasn't even in the country yet at that point.
No?
They were growing hemp, and people confuse hemp.
Oh,
and
whatever. Close enough.
Artek and Daughters says, come on, Gary, damn it, not you too. Well, I don't know what
I don't recommend smoking hemp.
probably not. Chris Lang is out there.
Yeah, unless you like the effects of CS gas, don't smoke hemp, folks. You get pretty much the same consequences.
Ron 2A.
I don't know. I feel like that might be entertaining.
Ron 2A Matters member for 18 months. Roll Call says freedom is always a fantasy when it comes to government. Abigail says treat cannabis like alcohol. Well, that got some lively discussion going. But let's go ahead. I do have one more article to cover real quick. And this is about New Jersey. Anybody here from New Jersey? If you are, I'm sorry. Okay, let me go ahead and share this screen. And it says a New Jersey court says out-of-state carry permits don't have to be recognized. The Second Amendment is the only constitutionally protected right that stops at the border of the state where you live. In Virginia, where I live, this is Cam Edwards talking, I don't need a government-issued permission slip to keep a gun in my home or in my glove box, but if I drive across the border into Maryland without first unloading and securing that handgun, I can be charged with a crime.
Oh, yeah, I know that feeling well.
Even if I
live on the border of Maryland, too.
Even if I possess a valid Virginia carry license, states don't have to recognize it. That's a case in New Jersey where no permits other than those issued by licensing authorities in the Garden State are accepted. Now, a state appeals court has ruled that restriction is just fine, and a Pennsylvania woman can be charged with illegal gun possession even though she had a valid concealed carry permit from her home state when she was stopped for speeding. Jaludi Tavares Rodriguez raised both a Second Amendment challenge to her arrest and conviction and argued that New Jersey's refusal to recognize out-of-state permits violates the full faith and credit clause of the U.S. Constitution. In a per curiam opinion issued on Monday, a three-judge panel disagreed with both arguments, declaring that because the licensing requirements vary between the two states, both New Jersey and Pennsylvania are permitted to set their own qualifications as they see fit, so long as they remain within constitutional parameters. The panel was similarly dismissive of her claim that New Jersey's refusal to recognize out-of-state permits violates her right to keep and bear arms. Quoting here, permission given to the public to carry handguns has long been the most closely regulated aspect of New Jersey's firearms statutes. As early as 1882, New Jersey has regulated the carrying of handguns, and since 1905, it has required private citizens to obtain a permit before carrying firearms in public. Permission given to the public to carry handguns isn't how I describe a fundamental constitutional right, but then New Jersey's courts have routinely dismissed or downgraded the Second Amendment, so I'm not shocked to see the appellate court essentially describe it as a privilege, not a right. And again, I'm quoting here, the regulatory and administrative requirements to secure permission to carry a handgun in New Jersey are robust. Applicants must follow a two-step process. First, the applicant must apply to the relevant law enforcement official, the chief police officer in the municipality, or in some instances, the superintendent of the state police. In addition to the application, a potential licensee must secure the endorsement of at least 4 reputable non-relative persons who have known the applicant for at least 3 years before the application and who shall certify that the applicant is a person of good moral character and behavior. We are not persuaded by defendant's arguments that her prosecution was constitutionally infirm. Despite her arguments to the contrary, Bruin only permits possession of a weapon, subject to an individual state's licensing requirements, that ensures that those bearing arms in the jurisdiction are law-abiding, responsible citizens. Defendant failed to comply with New Jersey's firearms statutes, regulations, and mandate regarding the proper substance and procedure to carry a weapon in this state. Since defendant failed to follow these requirements, her prosecution is constitutional. Now, Cam goes on to say, I believe that many of New Jersey's licensing requirements, including its multiple character references, are unconstitutional on their own, but the state's judiciary has upheld these restrictions, which leaves Tavares Rodriguez in a bind. Theoretically, it's possible for a non-resident to get a New Jersey carry permit, though it may not be practical or easy to do so. Tavares Rodriguez had never tried to obtain a New Jersey carry permit, though it's unclear whether that would have made a difference to the appellate court. Today's decision is hardly shocking given how much hostility New Jersey politicians and judges have historically shown to the Second Amendment. It is, however, another reminder of why we need to pass a national right to carry reciprocity law to help guarantee that our Second Amendment rights do extend beyond the borders of our home state. All right. Thoughts on this?
Well, their whole idea that different states having different regulations affecting licensing different, that didn't seem to affect these various courts when they were talking about states that were banning gay marriage and not banning gay marriage, and whether a state was going to recognize another state's gay marriage and forcing them to do so.
True. I wish they could just you get like a CDL driver's license, but for a carry permit. No, it's good in all 50 states.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all driver's licenses. Not all states have the same driving laws.
Well, I was going to say, not all states have the same permitting requirements before you get your license.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, PlaneNut 767 says, yeah, Gary, that's pretty much all the Northeast. New York, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Maryland, Rhode Island, none of them allow out-of-state permits. Agorizer says, I'll have to drive through the anti-2A hellhole that is Illinois to go to goals, not looking forward to it. Let's see. PlaneNut says, they went through New Jersey State Court. No wonder it reads like the AG wrote it. Abigail says, just get rid of permits altogether. Yeah. Oh, New York Outcast is out there. He says Blue Point tools are overrated and priced.
Hey, Rob.
And we have Gunpowder Beauty out there in the audience. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Bama Dad says, if you have a legal right to carry in your home state, it should be respected in all states.
Well, according to the 14th Amendment, it should be.
The idea that you need a permit to say that you have a legal right to carry is dastardly in itself.
Well, yeah. 100% true.
But with that being said, you know, you don't lose your First Amendment rights when you cross the border. When you cross state lines, you still have your freedom of speech. You still have the ability to petition government. You know, like this right here, she had the right to appeal the courts. You know, it's not like they said, "Oh, you can't appeal this. You just have to live with it because you're not from the state."
Well, what other constitutional rights do we lose when we go from one state to another?
Well, that's barbecue's
That was the
point.
point.
The answer's none.
Yeah, that's what I'm, saying. It's
I mean, obviously, the lady was carrying a gun for her protection. Does her right to protect herself end at the border of her state? God.
So here's the other problem. What is she supposed to carry? So she has a concealed carry for here in PA. She crossed the border into New Jersey with a handgun. She can't drive with a loaded long gun. So rifle and a shotgun are out. Then what do they want her to do? Carry a loaded long gun or shotgun with her while she's out traversing on foot in their state?
Or a club, maybe.
Yeah. Well, remember, New Jersey is also the state that prosecuted somebody from Pennsylvania because they had a hollow point, one single hollow point bullet in their car
Yes.
when they got pulled over.
I do remember that.
no firearm, just a bullet.
Just the bullet,
Yep.
because hollow points are illegal in New Jersey.
Yep.
Oh, no. Real quick, let's see. There's a couple interesting comments out there. Let's see. Bama Dad says, I have to say, in Alabama, we did away with concealed carry permits, and we don't require background checks anymore either. Interesting. Abigail says, he's talking about Mike. I know a few veterans in my family who benefit from cannabis. Also, a couple cancer survivors who took edibles when they went through chemo. Agarizer says, what should a woman carry? A broadsword, obviously. Rob D says she had it on her person or in the back of the car. I was late. Plain Nut says hollow points are illegal to carry, but strangely they let you have it for range and home use. Okay. That's crazy. Abigail says, yes, I love women with swords.
Well,
Yes.
I was just going to say, but, well, I was going to make a statement, but I don't know for sure, so I'm not going to make a statement.
Okay.
It's just a speculation thing, and I'd rather not speculate on that.
Mike McClune is out here. He says, my mom's friend used edibles when going through cancer treatments. It was the only thing that helped with the nausea and was able to eat. Yeah, that's true.
Which, the idea, so you have cancer, but no more guns for you because
Or glaucoma.
marijuana. Like, that's just blasphemy.
Well, so my stepfather, he has like a 1911, 45 ACP pistol. But him being a veteran and using the the hospital or like the benefits of health or whatever. Even though marijuana is totally legal in the United States, he was telling me that like he could lose his, since it's not legal federally or with the feds or whatever, he could lose his VA, possibly he could lose his VA stuff. If he was smoking and plus having a weapon, and he just wasn't for sure about all that.
Any felony that's committed can cost you your VA benefits.
Well, no, he's not talking about it. Yeah, I mean, like not committing a felony, but like, him just owning a weapon,
right?
And
technically speaking, the marijuana possession is a felony federally.
That's what. Yeah, I guess that's what I was trying to say. Even though it's legal in the state,
right?
Yeah.
That's why. Yeah, that's why I said under the law in the VA rules, any felony it could be marijuana, it could be something else. You get caught with any felony, they can take your VA rights away from you.
Yeah, but it's not a felony in a state.
No.
Yes, but because
it could be a state felony too, not just federal. Any felony.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I understand that, but I was just saying, like, he don't smoke pot.
Yeah, legal.
You just said that, like, if he was to, he's like, I could lose, my VA benefit.
I'm not arguing that with you, but I'm just pointing out, that'll be the same with any felony.
Yeah.
Well, I understand that, dude.
It's
legal in the state, so he's not committing a felony. But with the
he still would be in the eyes of the federal government.
Yeah, federally, he
that's
would.
What I was trying to say. Yeah.
Okay, real quick, I want to remind everybody of something that's not a felony, and that's gear websites.
Are we sure?
Yeah, I'm sure it's legal in all 50
Oh, thank
states.
God! I would have committed so many of those.
It's your source for every Second Matters gun channels gear, MOID, and more. They have patches, stickers, and other items, and every Friday is Free Patch Friday. When you buy cool stuff legally at gearwebsites.com.
Gearwebsites.com is your source for firearms-based playing cards and books. We also have mugs, shirts, and posters with designs that we've made live. Of course, we have patches. Every Friday is Free Patch Friday. We appreciate your support. Thank you for shopping at gearwebsites.com.
We got the goddamn Bacon out there. He says, this is exactly why I don't talk about any possible felonies. What they don't know won't hurt them. Exactly. Artak and Daughter says, that's why I carried a phaser from Star Trek and dead sticks from Star Wars. That makes me safer. It sure does. New York Outcast says, I'd tell people to avoid getting a state weed card if you're into guns. What isn't being enforced today could be tomorrow. Probably isn't worth it.
The whole thing is,
yeah.
At your state level, they don't care if you have the weed card and you're buying firearms. It's only if, for some reason, the NICS system makes the connection. That's why, like, what the heck was that bill passed in Washington? What the heck was that called? Whatever 56 or whatever heck it was called. One of the things they put in there, they wanted access to your medical records. It'd be a lot if they have access to your medical records. It's a lot easier to tell who has access to medical marijuana.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
And then you're not violating any HIPAA laws.
Give me just a moment, please. Okay, so Let's see, what did I miss? Let's see. Bamadid says, that being said, I was just cleared from a 5-year battle with diffuse large B-cell lymphoma and the strongest chemo known. I never touched marijuana. No need for it. I just puked when I needed to.
Sounds like a good time.
Sounds like a good
I mean,
time.
the puking part.
Abigail says, holy HIPAA violation, Batman.
You'd be surprised how many states have laws on the books that violate HIPAA.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. For reals. We got a lot of people getting their hashtags in there. But speaking of hashtags, I think it's about time maybe for something like this.
Oh, who's the chicken that everyone loves? Gizzard Gary, who's 4'2" but stands above. Gizzard Gary, a ton of its wives and more to come. Gizzard Gary, who loves to give gifts to everyone. Gizzard Gary, giveaway. Gizzard Gary, giveaway. Gizzard Gary, giveaway.
Hi, folks. Gizzard Gary here. All right. So, giveaway. Yeah, we're going to give away some stuff. And we're also giving away an Aegis sample trifecta. That is from, of course, Aegis Gun Care.
Wow.
Our sponsor, the leader in performance and perfection. So you're going to get a sample size bottle of their cleaner, a sample size bottle of their lubricant, and a sample size container of their lithium grease. Grease, as you know, is the word. So anyway.
You're the one that
So
wrong grease. My bad.
Wrong grease. So part of what you're going to win tonight is the Gizzard Gary channel sticker, the official channel logo. Also, to commemorate the show tonight, a Fowl Territory thumbnail sticker. And let's see. We also have this sticker from Excess Sights, the fastest sights in any light. Mr. Bob wants to know, do we have to enter 3 times to win the trifecta? No, just once. Sticker from the good folks at Live Free Armory. They are true American manufacturing. Hold on just a minute. I got to get a cat off me here.
You're giving away a Rossi trifecta?
I don't think so. Okay, so from our good friend DM Foss, you're going to get the Hell No Kitty sticker. It's always a fan favorite. Also, the Armed Papa Smurf. And, of course, the Haterade Thirst Destroyer. But new this week, and he's not out here to appreciate this, brand new from DM Foss, Sarge and in charge.
Mother of God.
Too bad he's not here to appreciate it. You're going to get a sticker from my friend Ron Wayne. I love his channel. Also, courtesy of Squidload, you're going to get this sticker from Hawaii with a chicken on it, rooster, whatever. Pretty cool. And a small sticker here from Stroop Knives. All right, so patches. We do have a couple patches tonight.
Stinking patches.
We're getting down to the bottom of these. The 2024 NRA Dallas patch from Palmetto State Armory.
Mm.
And you got this patch from JL Billet. It says, "In chips, we trust." And then you've got this one. Who the heck is this from? I think it's from that Savage, I believe. Yeah. All right. So you're also going to get, if you have a party and you don't want your guests to put their drinks on the coffee table and leave rings, we've got coasters for you. A whole set, not just one. A whole
How many
set.
are in there, Gary?
7. The perfect amount for a gathering.
That is the perfect amount.
According to EAA, anyway, the good folks at European American Armory.
You know what, Gary? I never have 6 and I never have 8 people at my house. It's always 7. That is perfect.
Exactly 7. It's funny how that works. Yeah. And you're also going to get the official Gizzard Gary pin, which you can pin this on your hat. You can pin it on your jacket or on your shirt, maybe even your cat. But your cat's not going to be happy if you do that. I'm just warning you right now. So you might want to think twice about that. So now I know you're asking yourself, how do I win all this stuff, Gizzard Gary? Well, let me show you. We've got this magic thing called the StreamYard giveaway tool. And everybody who enters this hashtag into the chat, hashtag #FT319, gets a chance to win. We've got 41 people watching this, 35 on YouTube and 6 on X, and we only have 25 entries. So I'm going to give you another minute or two to enter your hashtags. I do believe they will work on the alternate platforms. So if you're out there watching on Facebook or on X, go ahead and type in #FT319, no spaces. Doesn't have to be capped. It can be lowercase, just like it is. So, yeah, you do have to reside in the United States. I don't want to pay international postage to ship this. I'm pretty sure he just doesn't want to either. So, yeah, we have had somebody who won from, what was it, Argentina? So
Something like that.
I had to put that disclaimer in there because we do have people watching from overseas, and I wish we could, but a lot of things you just can't ship overseas, and it gets kind of pricey. So 25. Gerald says, who's winning today, Jacob or George? Agorizer says #1 recently. Now we got 26. I think we've given them a minute. So
I think so.
Whose turn is it to do the countdown? Well, I'll tell you what, whichever one of you gives me a countdown, I'm going to hit the draw button. He says, do it now. All
There wasn't
right.
a countdown.
I know.
I was getting ready to count back from 300.
And the winner is Weston Probst on X.
On X.
On X. So, Weston, are you out there in the chat? Need to hear from you. It's been a long time since Weston's won. Wow. Come on, Weston. Wave your hand out there. Yes, you can even tell. Oh, he says he's out there. He says, sweet, off of X, formerly Twitter. All right. Well, congratulations, Weston. I probably have your address unless you've moved recently. If you have, send your updated information to me. Email that to winner@gizzardgary.com. We haven't had anybody win off of X in a long time, but it does prove it's possible. He says, you've got it, same address. All right, good deal. Good deal. And I will pass that on to the good folks at Aegis Gun Care because they are great people. They're based in Idaho. They don't make their stuff out of potatoes as far as I know. But
you never know. That might be why they moved to Idaho.
Could be.
I thought they were in Idaho, not Idaho.
Could kind of sort of be the same thing. You never know. But you know what? We've got more stuff to do today because we do have another part of this show that some people consider their favorite part of the show. And this is called Show Us Your Gorn. This is where you send your Gorn to gorn@gizzardgary.com. And if you do so, please include your channel name in the email so I will know who sent it. Please ensure that all firearms are on a table stand or other surface and not in somebody's hand so it appears that I'm showing live firearms on the screen because I have gotten in trouble for that before. So anyway, let's go ahead and put that sign up here that says Show Us Your Gorn. And we'll get it. If I have any Gorn, that's a question. That is a question.
I don't know if you got Gorn, but we got a gun question out there in the chat.
Right now, I don't have any Gorn, so I am awaiting Gorn if anybody wants to send any in. So meanwhile, you say we have a question.
Yes, Vulcan Rumble wants to know, is T-Sauce any good at customer service? I have no idea.
I don't have any experience with T-Sauce.
No.
No experience, and I haven't heard anybody that has said one way or the other. But with that, that isn't necessarily a bad sign because you haven't heard anything bad.
Now, I do believe, am I not mistaken, Rich? I believe EAA is the importer for T-Sauce.
I have no idea who
Thought
imports
maybe
them.
they were, but I didn't know if they would handle customer service. Probably not. You'd probably have to go directly to the manufacturer. I do not know if anybody out there has an answer to this. Please go ahead and let us know. Denny says, I have a T-Sauce but never fired it, so I can't say. Artek Adutter says SDS is. Okay. That's why we've got knowledgeable people out there in my audience. So they can answer questions I can't answer. Agorizer says, I got cat right in my face right now. Excuse me. Agorizer says potatoes make better suppressors than gun lube. Yeah, they probably do. But you could only use them once. Not that I am, advocating putting potatoes on the end of your guns or anything like that. Don't try this at home. So let's see. Artax says, I have one of their pistols, did a video on it, SD9, good gun. Evidently, if somebody's got a question about customer service, maybe they have one that's got an issue. I don't know.
Be my guess. Guy comments, no, that's not weird at all. No, if you were going to a restroom and doing, touching pee-pees, then it would be a different story.
Sword fight!
Yeah. I didn't see that. That's an interesting question, but yeah, I love the way you put it. All right. So, and that is the correct answer. It is not weird. How come I can't see that on YouTube? Oh. There it is. That's weird. I didn't have it on live chat over there. I was seeing it in StreamYard, and I didn't see it over on the YouTube side. Well, evidently, we're not doing any Gorn tonight because I'm not getting any so far.
Come on, folks.
Oh.
Come on.
Send in your Gorn. Gotta have that, Gorn. Send in your Gorn.
How do you expect this show to keep going if you guys aren't going to send in any Gorn? Come on.
If you love your country, and stand your ass up and send your Gorn into Gizzard Gary.
I've got a video here from Kentucky Rimfire and Hobbies. So let's see if I can open it. Come on. Open attachment. There we go. Now, share your screen and see if this will work. Okay, can you see it?
No.
Huh?
All right.
Well, you're blind, so.
Okay, we're just panning down the length of the gun. Wow. Let's do that again.
That's what she said.
Nice.
This is a Scavenge custom-built bench rest Savage Mark II. One more time. That's kind of cool. That's Gorn in motion, folks.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
Chris Lang says, where's your Gorn? Oh, give me 1 minute. Where's your Gorn? Email it to gorn@gizzardgary.com. That's how you get Gorn in here. We got time. George is George is patiently waiting here. He wants to see some Gorn. Probably not the Gorn we saw on Rich's show last night. Let's see. New York Outcast says, don't let barbecue fool you, Rich. He's got no problem picking out the hot chicks in town.
Yeah, I wish I had no problem doing that.
You can't find the hot chicks?
No.
My problem is they're too fast. I can't catch them.
My problem is that S is usually missing.
We've got a sighting out there in the audience. Justin Grimm, he says, busy day, better late than never, I guess. Hello, everyone.
Hello, Mr. Grimm.
Hello.
And we got more Gorn here, folks. So let's put it on the screen and then we'll talk about it. And this is from living in Southwest Virginia. This is Steve. This is Bergara 6mm Creedmoor, or Bergara, however we say that. I don't know. Might be able to zoom in a little bit on that. Here, let's see. Get a little bit better look. There we go. That's pretty nice.
Like it?
I like it. The rest of you guys like it?
Oh yeah, really nice looking.
Looks like it'll go pew. That's for sure. All right. So let's see what else is going on out there. The guy that comments is wanting to ask Justin Grimm, are you related to the Grimm brothers? You might be. You might be related to the Grim Reaper too. You never know. Don't fear the Reaper, by the way.
Yeah, but the Justin write fairy tales?
I don't know. He writes tales about bacon and Iowa.
Yeah,
Okay, we got more Gorn. Got more Gorn. This one's from Chris Lang. All right. And let's put it on the screen. I don't believe there's any description. It's just a target. Okay, 7.6239 at 50 yards with an SKS. Nice. It's a nice group.
Excellent job.
81 score. Not bad.
So about what you would
Ed.
expect from an SKS.
Had one flyer, but as Paul Harrell would say, that's just me.
That could be the rifle. It's an SKS. That could be the rifle.
It could very well be. He says, I messed up the email SKS results at 50 yards. Well, I got that off it was written on there, so it's all good. But yeah, I would take that for sure. See there, we got some good Gorn after all. So meanwhile, while we're waiting on Gorn, tell us a story, somebody. Or do I have to ask? Or do I have to ask probing questions to the panel?
Ooh. Quick, Rich, bend over.
No.
Oh, you're the one
Okay,
who puts it to Gary.
boxers or briefs, Rich?
Boxer briefs?
Goods and barbecue, boxers or briefs?
I don't even know what mine would be classified as anymore. Like, so technically, I guess it would be boxer briefs, but it's not briefs fabric. Like, it's supposed to be like this mesh, breathable stuff. It's pretty friggin' awesome.
You're wearing fishnet underwear, are you?
Not quite, not quite. But if that's what it was called, I would own it proudly.
Hillbilly, boxers or briefs?
Oh man, they're a boxer brief from Duluth Trading Company. They are.
So they're made out of fire hose?
Yeah,
Yeah, that'd be uncomfortable. I'd think I'd chafe you after a while.
they're like the best stuff I've ever tried.
So Rob D says boxers. George Cortez, he says commando. Rob says boys need to breathe and not be bunched up all day. 223 DMR is out there. And we have more Gorn. We got a lot more Gorn. Okay, so you guys ready? Ready for Gorn? Back to Gorn. Back to Gorn, folks. Jacob S. with this one. The Eagle has not landed. He's pole sitting. It's a good picture, though. Nice picture, nice focus.
We need to get him some photography equipment.
I know.
When I say we need to get him some, we need him to go purchase it himself.
As much as he loves to take pictures, yeah, we need to get him some really good stuff. Okay, Justin Grimm sent me some stuff. So we got some memes from Justin Grimm. First, I need to get this comment off screen so you can see. Whoops, I hit the wrong button. I don't know how this StreamYard stuff works. I'm new to this. All right, so you do realize we can't retire on that, right? And he says, depends on the market crash. He's got a point.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think? I like it. I think it's a good. I think it's a good investment. I like that one. Okay, so he's got more than one. So, okay. All right. So, cosplay level Grandmaster. Wow. Interesting.
What was that?
It was quadruple amputee dressed up as the Black Knight from Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Oh, nice.
I get it now.
Okay, if CNN existed in 1967, police kidnap peaceful protester.
Yeah, that'd be about the size of it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll allow it. How about that? All right, so we have another one from living in Southwest Virginia, and he's found a wild one here. He says, my new buddy Sheldon. How about that?
Is it a turtle?
That is a cat. That is an orange tabby. Little kitty. Sheldon, I love it. Young Sheldon, I guess, in this case. All right. So, got another one from Kentucky Rimfire and Hobbies here. And it's blue. And he says, Anschultz custom built by Gene Davis.
Nice.
That's unique with that color. I kind of like it.
Mm-hmm. It is a sleek gun. That thing shoots.
If
really
Misty's still out there, she's probably drooling right now.
Yeah, G-Web says that's a nice looking rifle. It is kind of sharp. It gets your attention too. You're not used to seeing blue. That's for sure. Okay, now we've got something from Ozzy Orsborn. So he's done barking, so he's sending in Gorn. And what he sent us is back plates on my 2 carry guns.
Cool.
That is sleek.
Isn't it though?
Real nice, buddy.
I like that. I see a duck. Anybody see a duck?
Mm-hmm.
It's a 365 duck.
Mhm.
Once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Nope.
Just telling you.
I got one of them ducks too.
All right. So now we've got Mr. Bob Davalina. We all know. And he sent us this. And then let me tell you. He says, this is a 1963 Colt National Match 45 ACP. The left custom grip has close to 10 years of carry wear.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been carried a little bit.
Mhm.
That's sweet.
That's a good old gun, though.
Mm-hmm.
When it's got carry wear like that, that's just kind of love marks. I look at it.
It's character.
It's character. I bet it's Stu Shoot, too.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so now we've got from 223 DMR. And we need Pat in a bunker in here now. It says vote Democrat and you can get free TP for your bungholes.
No, because not too long after Biden was elected, you couldn't find TP anywhere.
That's true.
Are you threatening me? I like it. Dale Pogue says good night. Good night, Dale. So,
No, heck, that was under Trump.
Pardon?
I said that was under Trump because that was March 2020. And saying the election wasn't until November 2020.
Mr. Bob says it shoots just fine, Gizzard Gary. It feels good in the hand. I'll bet it does.
No doubt.
Abigail says because retards don't prepare. Wow.
I don't think anybody could have prepared for a mass run on toilet paper.
Yeah. I never knew too many people who thought, you know what, I need to have a whole room full of toilet paper just in case it's theirs.
Yeah, around here, it wasn't people from this state that were buying up all the toilet paper. We had out-of-staters driving down from places like New York buying toilet paper.
But why did the toilet paper disappear before the bean, the canned beans and the dry beans and rice? That all took a while to disappear. But boy, the toilet paper shelves were empty right away.
All it took was a rumor or like whatever, somebody saying, people's buying up all the toilet paper. Then everybody gets scared and they start buying toilet paper. It could have been the same thing for ramen noodles or something, or whatever,
Guy that comments says TP is a luxury. Abigail says y'all don't stock an extra case of TP a couple times a month. I don't. No.
Oh, we do.
I don't have room for it. I don't have room.
Who's buying an extra case of toilet paper a couple times a month?
Going through a lot of toilet paper. Bama Dad says, when all that hit, I went to Sam's Club and bought 2 cases of toilet paper. Then I came home to find that my wife had someone install a bidet. So I guess I might go roll a neighbor's yard. That's funny.
Yeah. Me having a restaurant at the time, like literally, it wasn't like a few weeks before that, I'd got I don't know how many cases it is, but ordering from a restaurant, you get a really good deal. And so I don't know how many rolls of toilet paper is in that box, but I had just got one like a couple of weeks before. And we always keep like a case of toilet paper, always have. And then when that starts getting like halfway down, we buy another one. Especially when you find it on sale. So we had no problem with that. Actually, we gave a lot of it away to people that couldn't find any. But
do you not like your family? Holy cow!
Huh?
So do you not like your family? Single ply
mean?
bark?
Huh?
Oh, just the toilet paper that is normally in restaurants is just single ply giant rolls. Like I
no.
want something
I
that's some
wasn't
quality.
buying that stuff. You can get different grades through like the vendors.
Now, Kentucky Rimfire and Hobbies, he has a good idea. He says, I take the spare roll from my hotel room every week.
There you go.
Bama Dad says, as long as there's a hose in the backyard, I'm good. Well, you don't live where it gets cold in the wintertime, or you wouldn't say that. A guy that comments says, all the paper we recycled normally found a new purpose. Ozzy says, I thought that's why you save your old socks. Now, Abigail says, smart people who understand how the unprepared are. I also have enough food to feed 4 people for 4 months and water purification tablets for 6 months. A guy that comments says single ply should be illegal.
Yeah.
Abigail says single ply, I get 2-ply quilted TP. Justin said, I half lived at work during that time period and used theirs. I worked for the largest medical lab in the U.S. Well, I was working there, but the toilet paper out at work was not great. We got more Gorn, folks. So,
All right.
Let's get okay. All right. Trying to read this first to make sure that it passes scrutiny. Okay, so it says, I love being an American. And the gal says, I'm ashamed of America. It's an oppressive nation. Then she's outside the car and he says, that commie is lucky we weren't in a helicopter. I'll allow that. Definitely will. Okay, so is that the only? Yeah, it's the only one there. Rob D has something new he wants to show us. So he says, this is my new G23. Like the grip tape he's got on there.
Uh-huh.
All right. And then we have this from Living in Southwest Virginia again. And this is, let me get it up on the screen, a custom 22-250 build on a Mauser action. Loophole 12X scope, made in 1989. Picked this combo up at an LGS about 2 years ago.
Wow. That is nice.
It is sweet. All these guys with all these cool guns. I tell you what. Yeah, thanks for sending those in. And then from Mr. Bob. Oh, this is pure Gorn here, folks. This is the definition of Gorn. From Mr. Bob. He says, not Gorn, but Justin Grimm would like that. Yeah.
Justin Grimm.
I'm jealous.
Properly cooked bacon, folks.
Oh, yeah.
As long as it's not raw and it's not burnt, it's properly cooked.
Now we've got a new one from 223 DMR. Look at the Gorn fly in here. Boy, when them things are armed, we're all in trouble.
Peanut could have used one of those.
Are they standing up for Peanut?
Yeah, it's a revolution.
That's hilarious.
That's great. Abigail says, I can feel my arteries clogging looking at that bacon. I'll take 2 plates. Hell yeah. The one plate's just so you can eat while they're cooking the rest of it. Justin Grimm approves that message about the bacon. Heck yeah. Ozzy says, I grew up in the days of outhouses and old catalogs. Yeah, if you go back far enough. Guy that comments says, adding bacon grease to your coffee, health hacks doctors don't want you to know. Abigail says, is that the attack squirrel that guy from Alabama trained? I think so. Rob D's got to run. Have a great night, everyone. Thanks for jumping in, Rob. Good to see you.
See you, Rob.
And we got more Gorn. More Gorn. Can you believe it? We got more Gorn. Oh, meow. Okay. And this is from 223 DMR.
Nice.
I like it.
This might be the most guns that you've gotten for Gorn in quite a while, Gary.
I know.
Uh-huh.
For starting out with 0, we've really hit the jackpot.
We need to shame them into sending in Gorn every week.
We should do that. Yeah.
You should just threaten to probe Rich every week.
Well, we've already covered boxers or briefs. Abigail says, how do you reload from that holster? Yeah, I don't know. So once again, if you are a channel member and you're just coming in here, there will not be a members only chat this week because I'm going to be out of state. I will be back next Monday afternoon. Should be back in time to have Fowl Territory next Monday. So I'm anticipating having it anyway. But
Awesome.
But no members only chat because I don't want to do that while I'm on vacation. So anyway, I do want to get this off because that's the end of our Gorn segment, because it's time for our final segment called What Did You Learn? In case anybody actually learned anything in here. And this is where we go to each panelist. We ask them what they learned tonight. Then we give them a chance to plug their channel. So we're going to go backwards tonight. We're going to start with Hillbilly. What did you learn?
I'm glad to learn that squirrels are finally standing up for Peanut.
Absolutely. All right. So what do you have coming up on your channel?
Man, we got Guns Burning Therapy every Saturday night. 9 o'clock Central, 10 o'clock Eastern. Ain't doing nothing. Swing by and visit us. Of course, we got videos coming out this week and every week. So, anyway, thanks for having me on, buddy.
You betcha. Thanks for being here. And we've got M200 out in the chat. He says, Baba Booey. Okay. Very good. All right. Well, thanks for being here. Guns and Barbecue, what did you learn?
I learned that if the government ever passes a law that says you have to turn in all your guns because it's the law, well, we now know what people will abide by that because it's the law.
It's true. What do you have coming up on your channel?
What do I have coming up? Nothing.
Nothing, huh? Okay.
Nothing. Let's say I still can't find a good video editor. So unless I learn to start speaking in good, proper English and saying coherent sentences and being able to do videos in one take, no content coming out for me still.
That's more fun
until I
if you just
find a
let
good
us see
video
the-
editor.
Just let us see the bloopers. You might get a lot of views.
Eventually, I just get frustrated and a lot of bad words are said, and I'm like,
George Cortez says, I learned that a hot dog is actually a sandwich. Of course it is.
Well, yeah, we've known that for a while.
M200 says, Guns and Barbecue, you're not going to barbecue and shoot? They might do that.
One day.
One day. Yeah.
We'll do it like a throwback February.
Yeah, heck yeah. Chris Lang says cap cut. Rich, what did you learn?
That squirrels like commie guns. That
Well, who
squirrel had
knows
an
where they
AK.
came from? Who knows where they came from to start with? And that might not have been an American squirrel. You don't know that.
Because today was a good day.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, what have you got coming up?
We got This Week Unloaded, Sundays at 9 p.m. Eastern on the Unloaded Media channel on YouTube, Rumble, and X. So check that out on one of those.
I hear it's a very popular show.
Yeah, very popular.
All right. Well, thank you for being here. So, what I want to do is get this off the screen. And I want to thank you for watching Fowl Territory, everybody out there. Whether you watched on YouTube, Facebook, or the X, or if you're watching a replay, we appreciate you watching out there. Appreciate everybody out there. Leave a comment, send it in, Gorn. There is one last-minute Gorn. I will go ahead and show it real quick. It is from 223 DMR. And it is a couple trucks. I don't know. There's no chain in between them, so they're not having a tug of war or anything like that. But American flag in the back of there. Nice.
Nice looking trucks.
Yeah. So anyway, I'd like to thank everybody who is on the panel tonight, and a special thanks to all of you who are channel members for all of your contributions to the channel. I appreciate each and every one of you. We won't be here Wednesday night for the members only chat, but I do plan on being back next week. I hope you are too. I'd like to remind you of one thing, and that is if anyone tries to infringe on your right to keep and bear arms, give them the bird. This is Gizzard Gary. On behalf of my panel, wishing you a great evening. I'm going to allow them to tell you goodbye, and then we're going to end the stream. So, good night, everybody.
Good night.
Live the American dream. Kiss some baby. Sign some. Never mind. We're not going there tonight. Or should we? No. Goodbye.